It is Sunday, August 10th, 2025. Thank you so much for being part of this weather community. All right, all eyes on what's going on off the coast of Africa. I want to give you all of the information I'm seeing, where we're going to go into monitor mode. This area will become a hurricane, and I want to keep everything in perspective on what I am seeing in the environment, not just the models. No scare tactics here, just facts on this channel. Thank you for being part of it. So it is this spot here that is pulling off the coast of Africa. That is the area that is going to develop into a hurricane as it continues its way across the Atlantic. This time of year, there's not as much dust, and there's additional moisture in the atmosphere that will allow it to develop further. And I will watch other spots across the Atlantic basin as well, and I'll zoom down to those as we go forward. Here is the spot we're watching. Again, these brighter colors telling me there's a lot of showers and storms. This was the tropical wave I was talking about a week and a half ago that would eventually come off, march across, and develop. Now, does it move into land? That is obviously the question we're all looking out for, and I want to highlight some of the chances of that as we get down the road. It's all dependent on high pressure. That acts like a blocker. If high pressure is strong up here, that acts like a fence and keeps everything down here and allows this to track more to the west. But if high pressure is weaker or slides more to the east, that could allow this to make more of a curve and stay over the water. But we have to be mindful. We have a lot of islands out there as well. Bermuda, for example, watching down the road if this were to curve to see how close it gets. If it doesn't curve, watching over toward the Bahamas, parts of the U.S., and of course, for us in the Caribbean, we are monitoring this so very carefully. All of the models, the American model, European, Canadian, and the Icon German model, have this area developing into a hurricane. It will become the first hurricane of the Atlantic Basin season. The next name on the list is Erin. Now, first thing is first, safety is first. That is why I do this channel. I've been doing it for years, as you know. I've been tracking weather for decades, so safety first with all of this. We are in monitor mode. I value your time, your resources, of course, always thinking of you and your family. Monitor mode does not mean action mode, so we're not wasting time or resources yet. That means we are really watching this. We're on a heightened alert. Now, this includes anywhere from the British U.S. Virgin Islands through Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, back through Antigua and Bermuda. So that just means, again, monitor mode. We are monitoring this together at more of a heightened alert. I do appreciate you spreading some of this information. It does not mean action mode. We'll be tracking over the next couple days how close this gets. As of now, most of it would be to the north, a little bit more to the north, which would be good, although I know we need to get some rain, but we definitely do not want a hurricane. We don't root for hurricanes on this channel. If most of it stays to the north, we'll just simply stay in monitor mode, and that is it. Of course, down the road, other locations, Bahamas, over toward the U.S., Bermuda, I'll be fine-tuning that, but we're not in action mode yet anywhere. Just monitor mode, extreme northeastern Caribbean for us. As it stands now, looking at the models as this develops into a hurricane, here we are in Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's. This would be upwards of 300 miles away, about 225 to 300 miles away, or 365 kilometers away to 480 kilometers away. That would be a safe distance, so to speak, keeping all of the heavy weather well to the northeast. And that's why I mentioned we're not in action mode. We're not taking action, keeping things in good perspective, getting the right information out. Monitor mode. I will give you the heads up. If anything shifts closer to us, you will know here first with advanced warning to give you that time to make any preparations, but we're not at that point yet. In fact, again, if this were to hold, that would keep the heaviest weather simply to the north of us in the Caribbean. Now, you could see it here, though, the uncertainty as we go down the road. That's why I like to use that map. Here we are in the Caribbean. Here's that little spot we've been watching for days and days, but this is the area we're watching. Now, this is the European model and variations of the European model. So this is kind of the spread. It could be anywhere from up here or down here. And this is by the time we work our way through the week as we get toward Friday. So this is the spread, right? Most of the modeling, though, is kind of up here, clustered up here, more to the northeast of us in the Caribbean. And then, of course, as you go down the road with weather, this is a week from now, over a week from now. This would be really next Sunday into Monday. You could see the uncertainty because things are going to change. The models could be anywhere from the North Caribbean all the way up to Bermuda. Here's Bermuda right here. This is that spread. Could be down toward the Bahamas, But at this point, right, and what I'm seeing in the environment is a little bit more of a curve. Most of the modeling's up here. If this were to happen, of course, we'd eventually have to go into monitor mode and then action mode for Bermuda. But let's see. Again, yesterday was over here. Days ago, the modeling had everything in the Gulf, and that's why I kind of caution we need to get a little bit closer in time. The first thing I need to see is this develop. It will develop, but once it develops, I'll know where the center is, and that will give me a better handle on exactly where this system will go, both short term and long term. So here's some of the modeling on this, and you can see the clustering of the various models are to the northeast of the Caribbean. That is why we are not in action mode. That is why we're just in monitor mode at this point. And I'll know in a day or two if it is going to take more of that turn away from the Caribbean to give you the advance heads up. If anything shifts closer, you'll get that advance heads up right here. Now, this is the same thing. Those squiggly lines, this is going out in time. I know this chart's a little bit different. This is the computer models. You can see them here, all of these lines. This is 24 hours out in time, 2 days out in time, 3 days out in time, 4 days out in time. All of the models have this developing in just a couple of days, about 3 days into a tropical storm. You can see it here, this green shading here, and then down the road, the models just continue with that trend. Once you get into this yellow shading, that is a Category 1 hurricane. So all of the modeling just has this develop into Erin, a tropical storm, and then eventually into a hurricane. Now, here's the very tricky part with this. No doubt watching how close this gets to land, and here's one of the reasons why, especially because as we get closer to land, the water temperatures are so very warm. So if this doesn't make a curve early enough, and of course always being mindful of Bermuda, but if this does not make a curve early enough, it runs into these extremely warm water temperatures, normal for the most part for this time of year. We're deeper into summer. We expect the water to be warm, but these water temperatures are very warm. They would act as fuel for these systems. And another thing is the heat content. It is not just the water temperatures. You see here in the Caribbean, these red shadings showing up here, parts of the Gulf as well, and right by the Bahamas, these are those hot pockets. It's not just warm water at the surface. The warm water is well down below. That's what causes some systems to one of the reasons systems rapidly intensify. So if you get any system working its way through the Caribbean right now or toward the Bahamas, that of course could allow it to rapidly intensify. As of now, if the track stays to the northeast of the Caribbean, that would surely help reduce some of the intensification because the waters aren't as warm and that those areas of high heat content are not there. All right, let me show you the European model and the American model now. Here we are in the Caribbean. Here is Bermuda, again, watching the Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, just to orient you. Here's the area off the coast of Africa. So the next few days, what we're going to do is see it develop, right? It'll be developing. It will be marching across. Here we are in the Caribbean, pulling forward here. This here is by Wednesday, so by the middle of the week, that's when it should be developing into a tropical storm. I mentioned a couple days, 2-3 days from now, should really be developing into a tropical storm at that point. Now, here's the European model going ahead out in time even more so. This here is by Thursday of the upcoming weekend. You see it really developing. By Thursday, it should be a tropical depression or tropical storm at that point and getting stronger. Now, here's the catch. That area of high pressure, that blocker, is a little bit more to the east of this system. So the blocker is not here. So if this area stays over here, that allows it to kind of curve. There's a front sitting up here. That may help grab it, so to speak, and allow it to turn a little bit more. There are those areas of high pressure, more off to the east. So it's not blocking it, keeping it down, pushing this area right through the Caribbean as it stands now. And then you can see here, this would be by Friday into Saturday, north of the Caribbean. That's why we're not in action mode yet. Now, if this area of high pressure appears to get stronger or anything like that, and this area shifts more toward the Caribbean, we'll go into action mode, island by island. All islands matter, and I'll be tracking that for you. And then eventually, as we go out in time here, this would be by Sunday into Monday. So over a week from now, you see Bermuda, that would be a strengthening hurricane that may be lifting up, and you can see the area of high pressure is way the heck over here, allowing this area to curve. But as I mentioned, right, once we get past 5 days, there's a lot of uncertainty. The modeling has been over here, it's been over here, so we'll take that with a grain of salt. I don't leave any information information out. I trust your knowledge that, again, after 5 days, we're going to see some changes. We'll see how much of a curve this takes. But the first concern is us in the Caribbean, just how close this will be getting as we work our way toward the end of the week. Now, here is the American model, very similar to the European model. So they're both kind of reading the atmosphere the same way, the environment the same way. I'll zoom down here in just a moment and then lift up to the north. But let me show you this. This here is by Wednesday again. Very similar scenario. Wednesday should be a tropical depression developing into a tropical storm. Here is that front again that I just showed you on the European model. That means high pressure is over here. Since it's over here, that keeps this system below it. But once this area continues to work our way, it kind of feels this front, and then you could see more of a turn. You see more of a turn. Here we are in Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Martin, and this area would be to the northeast by the time we get into Friday. Any shift to the south could really change things for us, as we know. That's what I'll be watching nonstop. Then as we go forward here, Friday into the weekend, this would keep all of the activity to the north of the Caribbean. We'd just be dealing with some high seas. But of course, all eyes would be on the timing of this front. If this front is slow, that could allow this area to drift more to the Bahamas and potentially the United States. If this front stays on time or is strong, that could allow this to curve to the north. But we do not wish a storm on anyone. So even if it makes this curve, yes, sometimes good news for someone is not necessarily good news for someone else. And you can see here, then we'd be watching Bermuda. But the point is, both of the modeling, the bigger models are showing pretty much the same thing. But does it take an earlier curve and miss Bermuda, or does it start to get a little bit closer to parts of the Caribbean and then over toward the Bahamas and southeast U.S.? That still needs to be fine-tuned because, again, this is 7 days from now. I mentioned once we get past 5 days, there's so much uncertainty with the changing. But that's what we'll be watching together. The short term, I've been watching a few areas, scattered areas of rain, St. Vincent the Grenadines and Trinidad. By the way, I want to show you the wave heights in just a moment with that developing system. Here's the area of Florida back through Cuba. Not seeing signs of development here. All eyes will be on what's going on off to the east. Tomorrow, though, a pocket of rain really south of Jamaica, and then watching over toward Cancun and Cozumel, over toward Merida, better chance of getting some of that rain. And then as we work our way into Tuesday, see some of this rain, Providencia, San Andres over toward Honduras, in clipping by parts of western Cuba and the Cayman Islands, eventually moving toward Belize for the middle of the week. But all eyes will be on what's happening over in the Atlantic. North of here, we've been watching some spots. It's been active near the Carolinas. Here's that spot over here south of Nova Scotia, south of Newfoundland and the Avalon Peninsula that hasn't developed. A couple spots we've been watching there, but a lot of activity. Southeast U.S., strong to severe storms pulling back from Iowa, back through parts of Wisconsin and Illinois, and watching some of those as well, New Mexico and Colorado. Then as we go on time here into tomorrow, you can see the additional rain just around over toward parts of the southeast. Same thing as we work our way into Tuesday. Ontario, Quebec getting some rain, and where we have been too dry, we are still too dry. Parts of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island has been so very dry. We actually need to get some rain in here. Now, as promised, the wave heights short term, Gulf Caribbean, not a whole lot, bit of a chop where we'd expect it. Central Caribbean, this here is by Tuesday into Wednesday, and then watch how things build as we get toward the end of the week. If this stays on its current heading, by the time we get to the end of the week, here's Friday. Look at those gigantic waves we're going to be dealing with. Atlantic passageways are going to be very dangerous as we work our way toward the end of the week. And we'll just see how much of the waves will be kind of impacting different areas as I fine-tune that track for you. But the next name on the list is Erin. This area looks to become Tropical Storm Erin and then eventually Hurricane Erin. So starting to get down to the list, there's been no hurricane yet on the Atlantic Basin side. So this would be the first. The Eastern Pacific and Central Pacific, it has been very active. Hawaiian Islands, Henriette staying to the north. Here is Evo, watching Mexico, of course. And as we go out in time, things have been missing Hawaii. Just to the north there goes Henriette. Still kind of hanging together. You can see there, I'll show you the track on that in just a second. Evo falls apart, but monitoring toward the end of the week some additional development south of Mexico that we'll be watching and just kind of seeing if it feeds any additional rain over toward the south coast of Mexico. We'll be watching that together through the end of the week. Hawaiian Islands right here, and you can see over the next few days, Henriette, that will be to the north, and then you see Evo, there's the Baja. Evo will be weakening, almost completely falling apart in just a couple of days. Southeast U.S., back through parts of Cuba, watching out for some pockets of heavier rain. That could be 3 to 4 inches of rain or 75 millimeters to 100 millimeters of rain if you get stuck in some storms. Spotty Cayman Islands for us in Jamaica, Haiti, back through Jacmel, Santo Domingo. We could get a pop-up shower. Same thing over toward San Juan as we work our way through Puerto Rico, over toward St. Croix and Tortola. But this is the pocket right in here. We're just in monitor mode again, watching to see how things evolve with this new system off the coast of Africa. Not a ton of rain, but Trinidad and Tobago, we could get some spots, 25 to 50 millimeters of rain, some spots for 3-day rain total. Same thing, parts of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname. A little bit more, though, as this rain builds in here. Parts of Nicaragua and Honduras, Costa Rica and Panama, especially western Panama, also active, and scattered areas of rain back through Colombia. Kind of hit or miss across the ABC Islands. Swinging back toward Mexico City and then over toward the west. That's where some of the rain's just feeding in. I mentioned Mexico for that flood threat. Parts of Texas as well, North Texas Panhandle, additional flood threat. And this is all of that heavier rain. Coastal sections of the Carolinas, especially southern North Carolina, southeastern, I should say, and coastal South Carolina could get some spots over 4 inches of rain. Parts of Georgia as well over the next few days. So some scattered thunderstorms will be possible for us in Jamaica. I'll be watching the comments throughout the day. Let me know what kind of weather you have. If you have some good weather as well, put your location down there in the comments. 30% chance the next 2 days in the Cayman Islands. Scattered areas of rain. We've seen that the last 2 days as expected. We've had more of that active period for us in Trinidad and Tobago. Been monitoring that flood potential. Barbados, 40% chance today and a 30 to 40% chance working our way back through St. Lucia. Rain chance 50% in Grenada today. We'll have a few scattered showers. 50% today, St. Vincent the Grenadines, and a 40% chance for tomorrow. 30 to 40% chance back through Martinique. Isolated showers possible as we work our way back through Dominica, Guadeloupe. Rain chance staying very isolated. On the low side, Antigua, Bermuda. Again, we are in monitor mode. That's where it stands now. St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat. We're watching what's happening in the Atlantic. Rain chance about 20 to 30%. 30% chance of a shower in Anguilla and St. Bart's. Monitor mode, St. Martin, St. Eustatia. Meantime, the rain chance staying on the low side. 30 to 40% chance. Could get a couple scattered thunderstorms back through Puerto Rico. Monitor mode, British and really U.S. Virgin Islands as well, all monitoring what's going on out there in the Atlantic. Watching out for scattered areas of rain, especially northern Bahamas again. We'll see some scattered areas of rain today. Turks and Caicos, rain chance stays on the small side. 40% chance of a couple passing showers and thunderstorms working our way back from the Dominican Republic, back through Haiti. Rain chance about 30% in Belize. It will be picking up by the middle of the week for us in Belize. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, we still have that chance of a couple passing showers, even a few at night. Rain chance holding about 20 to 30%. 50% chance today in Guyana. It is down some, a 50% chance as well back through Suriname. Scattered areas of thunderstorms possible back through Cuba, especially western sections. Higher chance of rain, 60 to 70% chance. Costa Rica and Panama, especially western Panama back through Costa Rica. That's where the rain chance is higher. A 50% chance the next couple of days in Nicaragua and Honduras, favoring eastern sections closer to the Caribbean. That's where the rain chance will be higher. Guatemala, El Salvador, rain chance 60%. 60% chance back through Mexico City. A 50% chance across the Yucatan Peninsula. Scattered areas of rain and storms throughout the week. 60 to 70% chance northern Colombia. Rain chance will be trending down some in parts of northern Venezuela. And as we work our way back through Bermuda, rain chance on the low side, of course, watching what is happening in the Atlantic. So the tropical wave will be developing quickly. Just the next few days, it will become the first hurricane of the season. Tracking how close it gets. Some of us are now in monitor mode and tracking those additional tropical waves back behind it. So thank you for your trust, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.